Step into the lab, lights hum like a starship dock. Pine logs stacked like data banks in a cube block. I calibrate climates while the timeline bends. Writing fungal code loops only mycelium sends. I navigate ecosystems with instinctive precision. Every egg played a portal to a parallel vision. Menaships spin up like reactors at dawn. You want a culture revolution, then you better respond. We fracture the boundaries of the natural order. Make Reishi bloom sideways like a space-time border. I'm an Appalachian alchemist, wild ridge born, with a druid's intuition and a mind full of spores.
Keep spawning culture.
We're the network underfoot, the unseen sculpture.
Keep spawning culture.
Hey y'all, welcome to the live stream. No, you didn't buy anything? Okay, thank you for reporting. We were checking. I smelled what I thought to be burning plastic smell, and I couldn't find it in time. And Brody, but it was just like very light, so I couldn't even tell. Like Brody said, he couldn't even smell it, which makes me think it was him. He's nose blind to it. He's causing problems. What? I know you've been sick. I'm just messing. But I hope you guys are doing well today. It's a beautiful day outside. Actually, where it is super comfortable. We might actually just run out there with the laptop and get into the garden. So I am doing one thing real quick, which is I am doing a TikTok. Yes, I have a TikTok now. I don't like it. I only recently decided to start posting every day on it due to some advice that someone gave me. So we'll see how that goes. But I hate everything about TikTok so far. We'll see how it works. On April 4th, what I'm talking about right now is we are doing our Cordyceps and cultivation intensive on April 4th, 2026. So it's a couple weekends from now. And we're going to show the grow room where I'm doing the walk-in into the new Cordyceps grow room and the modifications that we're making with it. And we're going to talk about, a little bit about liquid culture. The liquid culture and deep dive is really the place to go for all that stuff. We're just going to quickly go into that. By the way, I just recently tried pineapple Fanta. I'm sold. But yeah, that's that Cordyceps cultivation intensive is going to be 1 p.m. Eastern on the Saturday of April 4th. And pretty excited about it. My Cordyceps journey has been amazing. I mean, I am just absolutely 100% sold on it. So I'm thinking about going just 100% hard on Cordyceps. So I thought about not even doing the class, but I'm going to do this one class. And that may be the last Cordyceps class I do, just because I'm enjoying it so much that I think I might start doing Cordyceps production. Maybe not full time, but at least a big part of what I do. As far as like fresh fruits and stuff. Hashtag keep spawning culture. You guys all knew that already. Very cool. Nope, that's not what I needed. All right, so now we have that on Patreon. Or not Patreon. Shit, I need to get my Patreon up too. So, anyways, what's going on, everyone? What's up, Myco Nerd? What's up, Andrew? Hope you and the family and the business are doing good. Everything's going well. Everything's going exceedingly well. It's one of those moments where things are going so smooth and so well, and the problems that we do have are just normal, benign problems, to the point that you're just like, oh my God, please let me not screw this up. I don't want to screw this up. Things are going so well. So I've got more energy than I've ever had as far as health-wise goes. We're laying in some interesting investments and getting ourselves just completely squared away. And the daughter is fully invested in school and track and yearbook and like every possible thing she could possibly do. Brody's been talking to me a little bit about his agricultural mechanics, the stuff that he's working on. And then Samantha is, as always, the glue that holds everything together. You don't know about that? I know about that. Lord help us if she ever goes down. I will be helpless and hopeless and like a lost little baby. So, but things are going really well, nerd. How are they going with you? I hope that they are going exceedingly well with you as well. Because yeah, I mean, I'm pretty stoked. I'm pretty stoked about where we're at and where we're going. Um, like I said, any problems that we've had have been pretty benign problems. Yeah, baby. You think that? Well, yeah, but my information that I have that you rely on is much easier for you to get than for me to get your kind of work ethic.
We're a team.
We are a team.
We can't do it without you. We can't do it without me.
No, that's true.
That said, I want to be one of your first questions.
Huh?
I'm about to unload the autoclave and reload it.
You're about to unload the autoclave and reload it.
Yes, sir. And then with the really large oat bags.
The really large oat bags.
Right there.
Yeah.
Do I need to go up on the temperature time?
No. No, because it's the same. It's 5 pounds just in a bigger bag. It's the same stuff, just in a bigger bag.
And I should put this like in the middle of the autoclave.
Well, the biggest thing is you don't want the back of the bag exposed to open air. Because if you do that, that's the weak point, and those will blow out. Yeah. That's the biggest thing.
I didn't know. We've never done this large of an oat bag.
We've done it 3 or 4 times now. You just haven't done it yet.
So no special spot in the autoclave.
No special spot, no nothing. Just keep them together because those are the Cordyceps bags that I'm doing. You're not. Hey, you're not mixing the sawdust bags and the grain bags, right? You're doing grain bags by themselves. Okay. Just making sure. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, man. Okay, so yeah, there you go. You learned a little bit of how we do things. I will tell her that you said hi when she gets back. So awesome to hear, man. Hi, Sam. Things are looking up in a rough patch, but hey, it's not always sunshine and rainbows. That's true, and that's life. Regardless, we are so blessed to be alive during this time. That is true too. We live in the most interesting time I think that humanity has ever had. So that's pretty slick. Well, I hate to hear that you're in a rough patch, but I know how that goes. Rough patches they're part of it, and they're what lets you know how the good times are good, right? Excuse me. I don't know why I'm coughing all of a sudden. I've actually been pretty clear today. One sec. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. I just didn't want you guys to see me spit. But yeah, I mean, and we do live in a very interesting time. I mean, gosh, like the ability to have information at our fingertips. It is weird that we have more information than ever, and I feel like so many people do so little with it comparatively. Whereas I feel like, back when we had access to less information, we would have been more likely to do stuff with it. So, but you getting ready to unload the autoclave first? Gotcha. Harold. It's pretty here too, over 60 degrees. Yeah, it's like, what is it today? I know it's supposed to be in the 80s, like, so it says it's 65 right now. So it's been in the 60s. It's going to get down low 40s tonight, and then tomorrow it's going to be in the 70s at least. And it might be even more than that. So it'll be in the low 70s tomorrow, and then the next day it'll be high 70s, if not 80s. Dang. Well, do what? Yeah, we had snow 2 days ago. Maybe it was 3 days. I can't remember. It's 2 or 3 days ago. We had snow, and it stuck on the ground. So, all part of the game. Yeah, it is, man. The ups and downs are that's just part of it. It's the roller coaster. The biggest thing that helped me was just going, I'm in a low point. It's okay to be low. That was so helpful when I learned that trick. It doesn't always make it easier. Sometimes it makes it easier, sometimes it doesn't, but it does sometimes at least make it a little easier just to be like, I'm sad and it's okay to be sad. Back to phone books and snail mail. Yeah, I mean, I would trade it. I would go back to it in a moment. The 90s were interesting, though. At the same time, I freaking love a lot of the stuff that's going on. I'm terrified of the chaos, and I love some of the tools. So we'll see if I can make good use of it. We'll see what society or humanity chooses to do with it. Almost 70 tomorrow in Detroit, man. The woods are... Yeah, no kidding. And some of my plants took a beating during that snow, and then some plants just shrugged it off like it was nothing. Thankfully, most of the aquatic plants seem like they... It's at the filter patch. We're having like some blowouts during our autoclave stuff now. And we had not been facing... Look, it does smell really good. Actually, it kind of like good stink. It kind of stinks and it's kind of good at the same time. Yeah, I can see popcorn. But yeah, the woods are calling me. The lake is calling me, but the water won't be warm enough to swim in for... If I'm willing to get cold still, May. May would probably be the earliest that the real swimming is going to start. Is that the same bag? Okay, so here's the thing. Stop. Come here. Well, she's grabbing another bag, I think. But yeah, I want to get out there. The garden is really what's coming in. Okay, so what I would do is turn them back. Someone was asking about autoclave tape? Oh, previous. We might have to pack them just a little bit tighter and leave a little less airspace. That's the only thing I can think of is finding some way to pack them where they're all supported. It used to always be the sides. I asked if I'd tell you guys what we trade those for eggs. I've told people before, I don't know, but yeah, we put those on Facebook Marketplace and have people bring it. And basically my trade rate right now is 1 5-gallon bucket of sterilized oats to 1 dozen eggs. And that seems to have been a really good trade value for people because I'm just going to throw it in the compost. And then, yeah, there is, a trade value there. I get my protein and we get like eggs. I need to eat a lot more eggs. Egg salad sandwiches are the best. Salt in the wounds, lol. I'm glad you're making positive progress and life is smelling smoothly. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's not the smoothest thing in the world. I still have issues, but the issues are not so problematic that we can't, deal with them. So the biggest thing I'm having right now is that I'm losing weight, and that's good, but it's making everything fit weird, and it's making me, it's just like, my belly is shifted down, and I don't know, I've got like loose stuff, and so that's kind of the big thing right now, I guess, that I'm working on is tightening up, getting some more muscle on, getting back into it. So, but other than that, things are going smooth. I'm just going through an ugly duckling phase, I feel like. Without difficulty and discomfort, there is no contrast to the good times. They are a blessing in disguise. I agree, but it's hard to remember that sometimes when you're in the middle of it, right? So I totally get that. Like, it is a good thing and a bad thing. And we want to always ride the highs, but then we get into the highs. It kind of reminds me, so there's an episode of Rick and Morty, I think it's in the first season, where Rick, brings them back and somehow splits the universe or something like that, right? And the they have to all wear these collars and be exactly in the same place to bring all the universes back to a single universe. The whole point is there becomes a point where Rick basically sacrifices himself to save Morty, and as he's going down, he's praying and he's like, God, if you help me, please, I promise I'll never turn my back on you, kind of thing. And then and magically, basically, in front of him is the very thing that he needs to save himself. And he grabs it and he puts it around his neck and he's like, F you, God. I never, blah, blah, blah. I don't need you. I'll save myself, that kind of thing. Bloop. And then he goes back. And I just think that what an interesting thing, whether you're religious or not, that is the human condition, is that every time we're like, oh my gosh, I'm so low. I just want out of this. And the moment you're out of it, you're like, screw it. I'm never going to have a bad time again. I'm never, I don't need the thing. And, it could be I don't know. It's just an interesting hallmark of humanity to take for granted whatever situation we're in, good or bad, I feel like. But they are, if you allow them to be blessings, they are blessings, I feel like. What's up, Peace Boomers? Hello. I feel that on the loose clothing. Lost 40 pounds over the past 6 months or so, and it's weird, still not used to it. Yeah, it's interesting. Nothing fits right. Everything's too loose. I'm having to hitch stuff up, keep it from falling down, and my belly's getting slack to it, but I'm getting all this muscle and I feel good. And then I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh, I'll be feeling good and weight, lighter, and I'll be like, man, I'm sexy. And then I'll look in the mirror and I'll be like, I'm still this way. I'm still an ugly ogre. Like it's a do what? Shaveda said you gotta give yourself time. She knows, yeah. I am giving myself grace and patience. I think it's funny. Talk about the human condition, That is actually the most important part of being human. This feeling you're feeling feelings. I like it. Yeah. It is an important part to being human, is the experience and the good and the bad, right? I don't want to be like Death March to Bataan or something like that in my life ever. I think I can go without that level of suffering. I think that I'm okay avoiding that. I'm okay with the normal ups and downs, but it's all what do they say, as a spectrum, I guess. Hey, I lost 125 on the Golo diet. Dang, I don't know what the Golo diet is, but 125 is quite respectable. 40 pounds is, I don't even know what I've lost yet. What? It's where you can only eat Golas? What are Golas from Stargate? The parasites? Oh my gosh, I guess people do swallow tapeworms, right? Not saying that you actually do that. Facebookers would just say that. I'm just joking. Wiley, it's Yo Andrew. Glad to see you in good spirits on another live. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be in good spirits. For the syringe filters that are placed on an LC lid, how many PC cycles do you put them through before replacing? So when we make the airport style lid, we treat those as consumables. We use them once and we're done. For the aerated, what I normally do is I triple stack my filters. So only the interface filter between the dirty air and the clean air gets changed every time. And what I normally do is move it up one place in the chain. And the fresh filter goes closest to the bottle. So that is, that line gets fully replaced once every 3 cycles. And then, so those syringe filters will last me 3 cycles each. And then the vent, we're actually looking at getting away from syringe filters and moving to one-way valves for those. Though for those we do use a syringe filter right now, but we don't normally have a problem with backflow. So, but yeah, they can last a little while. But again, on the For our agar, we'll actually use those 5-6 times on the syringe filter part for our agar depositing lids that we used for pouring plates. It's actually an extractor lid setup, is what we call it. So it is like Atkins with measured protein and no snacks. Well, that sounds terrible, but 125 pounds lost is great. So sacrifices must be made upon the altar in order to get what you want out of life, right? To get what you need. I lost 40 pounds because I attained a German Shepherd whose ears dissolve any boundaries I set. Basically, you're leading half meals. The German Shepherd keeps you running. I know that we had, I got a Border Collie pup, and that thing had me out of my chair every 5 seconds. I actually ended up donating it to a farm, which sucked because I actually really liked that puppy, and Samantha had known that I'd wanted one for a long time. But man, he just needed constant attention at a time when I had little kids and was starting the mushroom business, and I just could not. I could not focus enough time on training that Border Collie. I always grew up with labs. My grandfather had Border Collies. To be fair, he was retired at the time, and he always had a farm and a lot of land for them to just roam on. And I grew up with Labradors, and so I actually really like labs because labs, they are energetic as heck. But once you put them through their paces, it's like they'll fall asleep and just, for the most part, just pass out. Samantha's got me pretty sold on schnauzers. Teddies are our own. We call them snake dogs because they kind of travel like that. He's very long and snaky, and we used to call his dad Schmog. But Teddy is a mix between a schnauzer and a Maltese and a poodle, and then schnauzer again. And so he's pretty. They get a lot of schnauzer. In fact, the bark is big time. But Teddy is not hard at all to keep going, which is actually nice to have those lap dogs. But yes, now I require belts. Yeah, me too. Suspenders, belts, that kind of stuff. And I'm always cold. I feel like an old man who needs a heated shawl. I noticed that too. I'm getting cold more. And I'm like, why am I so cold? I've never been cold my entire life. Now, to be fair, I'm losing fat, so I'm gaining that. Now, I will say, Jesse, oh crap, I forgot his last name. Missing Meadows Mushrooms. Jesse, dang it. Anyways, he said that what I should do is take a before picture and then an after picture, work out and do all this stuff, and then just eat a ton of mushrooms, and then start a whole segment called like mussels and mushrooms. And, it'd be like, see, I lost this much weight eating mushrooms. And it's, like, well, that and getting up off the couch, but yeah. Many states don't allow you to purchase syringes without a medical certification. Well, you should be able to just buy them right off of Amazon, regardless. But veterinarian supply, tractor supplies here, you can get syringes all day long without anything. Partial what? Half oats, half super spawn? You mean the half oats, the half sawdust, which is super spawn? Or are you talking about half and half, like the load? Oh, I don't mix them like that because the super spawn's got to be cooked for like 6 hours, and the other one's got to be cooked for 3.5 hours. And if you go to 6 hours, it's going to be mush. You could. The jars in the middle will help support it and keep bags from busting. And it allows heat to travel through easier because of the glass is a better conductor and the liquid is a conductor. So you can absolutely. We need 5-liter bioreactors. We need quart bioreactors. I need every type of bioreactor, basically. I don't know about, let's see. Do you need a medical certification to buy syringes in some states. Yeah, some states require prescription or medical certification to purchase syringes or have restrictions on the quantity sold over the counter. While most states allow over-the-counter sales, some such as Connecticut, Maine, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, and Illinois have limitations on the number of syringes that can be bought without a prescription. Well, how did they keep up with that on Amazon and stuff? In New York City, a certificate of need is needed for professional or business use, but this does not apply to personal users or pet owners who are covered under the expanded syringe access program. Illinois requires a prescription for quantities over 20 syringes. New York, Connecticut, Maine, New Hampshire, New Jersey, a prescription is required for quantities exceeding 10 syringes. Even when legal to sell without a prescription, pharmacists may refuse to sell syringes based on their own policies. Yeah, again, I would just order off Amazon. You can get them there as cheaply as you can get them off Lab Supplies, but also Veterinarian Supply and Tractor Supply and stuff sells syringes. What? No, Tennessee doesn't have restrictions on anything. All the what? We're all diabetic because of all the sweet tea. We do like our sweets here in East Tennessee. Yeah, I mean, I just I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure how they're stopping you from getting them there, but you let me know. I wasn't actually aware of that. I've never had to face that. Beef boomers, are there any small? In fact, none of my farms that have ever been in any of those states have ever had a problem getting syringes. So that's weird. Are there any small size setups here that talk to their mushrooms? Am I the only one? So large mushroom farmers talk to their mushrooms. I know people talk to their mushrooms all the time. Hugh Brewer used to tell them to grow faster. And he would tell you, no matter how much I tell them to grow faster, they don't. Samantha said she wishes hers would listen. I wish anyone would listen to me, let alone mushrooms. I can't even get humans to listen to me, right? She just keeps walking. And she started laughing. Yeah, you're not the only one. I think he was saying his dog was eating most of his food. Oh, the dog's eating most of his food. That may be okay. That may be the thing. My bad. It is a matter of perspective. Crap, I don't know what's a matter of perspective. Maybe the ups and downs stuff. There is a big delay from when you guys are coming to when I get to stuff. Labs stink, but they are very family-friendly dogs. Yeah, and you can help with some of the stink stuff. The food they eat helps some, but you're right. I mean, they're just always going to be kind of stinky. That's why Samantha doesn't like them. But water dogs tend to have that coating. My drill instructor, not my senior drill instructor, when I got placed in the medical platoon at MCT, yes, MCT, the sergeant had a full-size poodle, and I got put into medical, and he was in charge of the medical services there. Not the services, but the people getting trained, the trainees. And the poodle, yeah. Oh, you're talking about before I even left. Yeah, you're thinking of before I even left. That guy. Now there was a guy that had a poodle when I was at boot camp. When I went in the medical platoon. Sorry, before MCT. And anyways, whole point is he had this thing. Samantha's talking about there was another Marine. So that's two Marines that we knew that had full-size poodles. And they were the best trained dogs I've ever seen. And they were water dogs. I prefer labs still because poodles are kind of bitchy, in my opinion. Samantha likes Springer Spaniels. I like Springer Spaniels. I think they're pretty, but again, hound dog. There's just something about lab. Labs want to please you. They just want you to be happy. That's all they want in their entire life. They don't want to chew all your furniture. They're compelled to chew all your furniture. And if you give them chew toys, it's no big deal. You just have to give them rawhides and stuff to chew on. I'm telling you, labs are the best dogs, Samantha. We have this argument constantly. I want a lab, and she does not want a lab. And one of these days, I'm just going to show up at the lab, and she can say, you have to pick the lab or move out. And I'll be like, well, I'll just visit you, I guess. Boy, he heard that, didn't he? Samantha tossed the dog and cat a treat. No, they don't like raisins. I was swimming yesterday and today, 101 degrees. Where are you at that it's 100? Are you on the south side of the planet? The southern pole? I will shut up this whole conversation as a wheelhouse. I'm a therapist. Well, you don't have to shut up. In fact, the more you talk, the more content I am able to make. So I'm thinking of building a steam pasteurizer using a wallpaper steamer and utility tote for inside, and or a propane burner or metal drum for outside. How would you steam pasteurize when you started? I had, you can't do it my way. You cannot. I will not allow you to do it the way we started off steam pasteurizing. The easiest way is to build what's called a easy bake barrel. That is going to be the easiest, cheapest way. The wallpaper steamers do not last very long. You have to constantly recharge them. So I wouldn't go with that. It's going to be more expensive. You can get a 55-gallon drum, 1,500-watt element, and the stuff to a bulkhead, and then wire it up. If you're in my Discord, there's a whole channel on it that you can just go in there and read. But you can look up easy bake barrels. There's a video. Share screen. YouTube. Oh, I need to turn my fan on or my computer will get hot. Okay, so I don't. This is I don't watch anything on this account, so this is the stuff that YouTube just gives me. Though I do know who Vengeant is, and I do like Vengeant. Okay, so missing meadows, mushrooms. Jesse Campbell. That's who I was trying to think of. That's the muscle. So early easy bake barrel, mushroom substrate sterilizers, easy. This was a really good one. Oh, hey, look, there's when we had our get together 4 years ago. Dang, it's been a while. There are probably other.
Measure it, make sure that. What is?
Did it? Okay, it did. So
the cheapest and easiest way to start growing mushrooms? The answer is the Easy Bake Barrel. The Easy Bake Barrel, too, because they built this amazing community. So join us at the Mossy Creek Mushrooms Patreon page. Get to the Moss Back City Kid Discord channel. Here's a disclaimer. I am in no way an electrician or an responsibility yourself. I will in no way.
So he shows you how he does this, and he gives you, what to look out for. That he, don't trust him. He's just some guy on the internet kind of stuff. His crap, what do you call that? His liability waiver, basically.
Metal from the store,
so he shows you how he puts all this together, and he did it. I know other people that did these. These work really well. You can do them at home. You just let them go for 24 hours. I mean, it's a fantastic device. I've seen a lot of people start farms with them, and it's probably been the easiest way to steam pasteurize. Starting off, you don't have to be that handy, and I know a lot of people that have built them. So Tennessee is a right to live state. Most of the South used to be that way, but it's slowly reversing because northern folks are that I can vouch for. All of a sudden, we got people who are interested in regulations and stuff, and I'm just like, get out of here. Things have been running so smooth without all this stuff. So. GSDs, the only creature that needs to be alive. GSDs. What are GSDs? I don't actually know what a GSD is. My bad. My grandfather used to raise water dogs as bait. As bait? As bait for what? For gators? That's what Savannah said. I don't know. I don't really know what that is. Most people don't realize how amazing full-size poodles are at retrieving ducks. I mean, poodles. I've been impressed with the full-size ones, man. They like even the small ones are super smart. Teddy is so incredibly intelligent, and he's a pretty good-natured dog for the most part. Other than the fact that he wants to merge souls with you, and it gets a little annoying at times. Oh, you're in Phoenix, Arizona. That's why. Okay, it's 101 degrees. You're going swimming outside? Because I mean, we could go swimming here at the pool, but I don't really like the pools. I like to go swimming in the lake. And the Lake Cherokee heats up or warms up a little later because it's a cool water source lake. Lake Douglas on the other side of the county is a shallower lake and comes from a warmer source, warmer water source, and that one will warm up a little bit. But we don't tend to swim much in Douglas. Cherokee's a more pleasant feeling lake, I feel like. It's a deep water lake, too. Growing mushrooms in the desert is challenging. That I don't doubt. I know a lot of people who've done it, and there are all kinds of challenges to it, from sourcing substrate to keeping things cool to keeping things warm. Like, there's a lot of it for sure. Amazon, get all. That's exactly what I'm thinking. Is that most people that I know just buy their syringes off Amazon. You two could go middle ground. Australian Shepherds give you the lab personality without the smell. I like that, but they don't really like water, do they? Do Australian Shepherds like water? I'd be any gauge I want. That's what I buy. Quarter lab plus GSD. I'm not sure what a GSD is. I'm still gonna have to. Is that a gun dog? German Shepherd. GSD, German Shepherd dog. Gotcha. I don't. I will say I don't have any problem with shepherds, but the only dogs I've been bit by were shepherds. No, I was bit by a lab one time, but she was trying to protect me when I was a kid. From going somewhere. And she didn't even try to bite me. She tried to like grab me is what it was. I talked to her and play music. I know people that have had German Shepherds, but the ones I've always known have not been very chill. Then I ignore them. How are you looking at the... What's that? Yeah, that's true. All of the schnauzers that we've raised over the years, Samantha and I, and the schnauzer mixes have all just naturally gone after mushrooms. It's like they picked up we were after them, and they would hunt them for us. And as Samantha said, the trick, Truffle. Oh my gosh, Truffle. She was kind of the queen of it, and I miss that dog. She was a good dog. Except she didn't like water. She hated water, and she hated the outdoors pretty much. But she would, and that was mainly when she was older. When she was younger, she'd smell morels and she'd take off after them, and you'd have to be on it because she would roll in them, and she would crush every single morel. And it was like she was trying to scent herself as scent herself with morels. Your medical proxy? I think I understand what you're saying. Thanks. Now I won't waste time and money. Yeah, man, absolutely. That's what I'm here for, right? I'm trying to make sure you guys don't waste time and money when you're getting into mushrooms. The the easy bake barrels were probably one of the best things to start off with. The others, so we started off with an electrode boiler. And like I said, I would never, ever suggest anyone do that. It was the scariest freaking thing. We used salt water. We used 2 electrodes, and we used salt water to, you basically would have 2 electrodes. You would have it plugged into the wall, and then you would just add salt to the water until it broke until it flipped the breaker. When it did, you would kick it off, you would bail a little bit out, and then add fresh water back up to that line, and then boom, just let it go, and it would evaporate. And then we had a freshwater refill, and that was terrifying. That was the most terrifying thing. We used to take shifts. Ben, Samantha, and I. Ben lived in the basement, and he worked night shift, and Samantha and I lived upstairs, and we worked day shift. And Ben would just, if he'd take the night shift, we would take the day shift, and we would make sure that we didn't that it didn't melt down, basically. And then after a few runs, we made it to where we could afford a sauna steamer. We bought the sauna steamer, modified it, found out that we really didn't like the sauna steamer, and by that point, Ben had built us a 55-gallon drum boiler. And then now we have a much smaller boiler, but the Easy Bakes, I like it because people put them on casters and they just wheel them around their op or their house or their garage. They plug it in a 15 amp outlet, and so and they'll just plug one up. As soon as it's done, they'll unplug it, plug another one in its place, and they can just cycle them out. And like every 24 hours, they're putting a new barrel in on that outlet. Or on that circuit, and yeah, it's been a good piece of tech, and it's fairly affordable and cheap. Lake Pleasant is a man-made reservoir. Hey, that's Lake Douglas. Lake Douglas and Lake Cherokee are both man-made reservoirs with TWRA. Some of the best bass fishing in the world. Yeah, water dogs are newts used to catch big ones. So you don't see people with water dogs that much anymore, which is strange to me, but we have fishing competitions here. People come from all over the world. When like the bass tournaments and stuff are on, you'll have boats with Japanese and Korean and Arabic and all kinds of stuff moving through Knoxville and everything else. So it brings people from all over the world. And thankfully, so I started picking up fishing a couple of years ago. Thanks to really a man named Mr. Denise. I've always been interested in fishing. Apparently, my great-grandfather was a master at fishing, and I've just learned, like, it doesn't have to be an expensive hobby. It can be an expensive hobby, but just going and dropping a line in the water, and all these different places you go, there's water sources, right? So a lot of times, like, if I just get my state license, we go to Cumberland Mountain, I can fish. We go to the lake, I can fish. If I've got an hour, I can walk down here to Mossy Creek, I can fish. And it gets me out in nature, and it gets me all this stuff, and it gets me near mushrooms, which is really cool because now I get to combine mushrooms and fish, because mushrooms during the summertime around here, you're only finding mushrooms near water. And so I don't know, it's just been a good combination. Plus, sometimes I get to come home with trout to eat, and tomorrow I'm hoping to go. I got to talk to Brody first, but I want to go fishing with Brody, maybe Aislinn if she's interested, and go do maybe Samantha. Samantha wants to go. We can all go at the same time, but they stock the creek up here, so I'd love to just get out there, and we like to hit it when the right after they stock it, because the fish will just hammer stuff. And then it's farmed trout, but it's at least a way to get out there and enjoy the day and come home with some farm raised trout fish. So I think fish. What? Okay. Huh? Oh, I know. Yeah. I went last week or whatever, or week before or whatever, and caught one tiny little trout. It wasn't even really enough to cook up. It made me sad. Well, hello, Stuart King from the UK. Hello from East Tennessee. Dogs rule. Dogs in general rule. I do agree with that. Most aggressive dogs I ever dealt with were Dalmatians and Chows. Chows, for sure. I've not really dealt much with Dalmatians, but in fact, I've only met one Dalmatian that I can think of. But I've met a lot of Chows, and Chows have been every single one of them I think I've ever met has been pretty aggressive. Holy cow, sounds like a monster laboratory. It was, yeah. I mean, it was, all the sparks and the electrical. Talking about our electrode boiler. How terrifying it was. That's why I was saying, like, I would not suggest anyone ever do that. We didn't have enough money for anything And so we legitimately just did that because Ben was like, well, what do we have? We have a 5-gallon bucket. 5-gallon buckets can hold boiling water heat-wise, but they can't take the heat underneath them to heat the water inside them. So you have to heat the water inside of it and keep, it became this whole thing. And it was a scary experience, but it got us where we needed to go. Edward Teach braided ribbon into his beard. You should try mushrooms or moss. Samantha will do. I've got amber, little bits of like Baltic amber. That Samantha will be in there. Silver beads. I should totally do that. Though I think Edward Teach did fuses in his too to make them smoke. Which sounds like it would burn my eyes. But got some Cordyceps LC on order. What is an easy brown rice substrate recipe? I mean, the easiest is just brown rice and water. You want to do, let's see. Let me open my notes here. For brown rice specifically, we want... Well, I gotta scroll up on my notes. You want to do something like 800 grams of grain, 1,000 milliliters of water. So you do your brown rice, 800 grams, and then you have 1,000 milliliters of water. Sterilize and go forth. We'll be covering that and other sources. I don't actually like brown rice as a substrate choice. So we're doing our Cordyceps class April 4th. So if you go to mosscreekmushrooms.com and go under the Learn tab, online mentorship, there's the Cordyceps class. That's we're going to be going over a lot of this stuff on that Saturday. So that is a good place to go to learn it. Oh, looks like my camera stopped working. How's that? When did that cut off a lot? If it cut off a lot, I'll go back and talk about it. But I was plugging the Cordyceps class on April 4th. You can find it on mosscreekmushrooms.com under the Learn tab, online mentorship, and then the Cordyceps intensive. We'll be going over some of that information. What type of tattoo do I have on my right shoulder? So are you talking about the Triskel? It's just a 3-armed, the Triskel Celtic symbol. So, but then underneath that, I have another Triskel. This whole arm will eventually be Triskels of different types. So I have a knotwork bear, a knotwork man of war jellyfish, a knotwork, which it's a stylized, I guess we'll say, vulture with a Triskel with mushrooms that have like basically little miniature Triskels that come off the arm with mushrooms coming out of them. And then this is like a little biopsy plug. I like she did that little biopsy plug with mycelium coming all throughout the design. So that's I got a terrestrial, animal, aquatic, and then aerial on that one. And then my leg, unfortunately, I can't show you guys. Not the full thing, at least, but it goes all the way up to my groin. So it's a little harder to show, but it's a giant knotwork octopus ripping apart a long ship. And then I have Thor on the backside coming down with a hammer on top, hitting the knotwork octopus on the head. Is Uncle Ben Tech still a thing? I don't know. I never really got into it. I I talked to him, to the guy that was doing it. I don't know. Are you asking if his channel's still a thing? Because what was the name? Was it literally just Uncle Ben Tech? The rookie mycologist, 90-second media. Was that the guy that was doing it? I think that was 90-second media. And let's see, when was the last time he posted? 3 months ago. Looks like he was posting really regularly until then. I don't know about his community tab. It's been 8 months ago since he did community tab. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of there's been a lot of churn in the mushroom community over the past, like last year, there was a lot of churn. A lot of churn. You had a lot of new risers. A lot of the old hats getting out. I had a lot of new people getting into mushrooms. I had a lot of people who stayed small forever, expanding, and then I had a lot of people that had expanded, selling off, or getting out. And so last year was just a big churn, and I couldn't even begin to tell you what was the cause of the churn exactly. It's just like all of a sudden there was a huge mix-up, and things were just changing, and they were changing fast. And I'm not sure what caused the big fluctuation in mushrooms, other than unless it's just been the reorganizing of the economy based on tariffs and taxes and maybe politics, that kind of stuff. I do know that there was a lot of people who set up their farms acting as if the profit margins that they were currently, I think my shirt is stuck on, as if the current profit margins were going to stay the same forever, and of course they're not. But a lot of times it seems like prices kind of stayed stagnant there for a while for mushrooms, and now I don't know. They seem to be going up in some places, down in others. I don't know. Some people just don't like agricultural work too, so there is that. That's kind of a thing that happens. But I don't know if there's a lot of channels. So Southwest, he's kind of he's still posting stuff, but his channel seems to have kind of died. Then you had other channels that have just completely gone away. I've kind of just gotten into a live stream groove. I don't really do much else video wise. I'd like to do some more, but personally, I'll probably be working off my Andrew Reed channel for videos from now on. And there'll be everything, not just mushrooms. It'll be everything ecological and agricultural. And trying to think who else. Who was Philly Golden Teacher? I don't know if he's still a thing. Though I know that was more psychedelic. Let's see. It seems like it's popping up. Yeah, he's still around. But his last video was 7 months ago. And 7 months ago, then a year ago. So I don't know. I guess he's not doing much either. But yeah, I was noticing a lot of this channel's kind of backed off. I'm back. I'm black. Yeah, sometimes my computer does that. It'll like freeze randomly, and apparently you guys can hear me the whole time. I don't really know. So thank you very much. I've always been really big into the Celtic knots. The one on my leg is turning really nice and blue, which is exactly what I told my artist I want. This one's actually bluing out really well. I asked specifically for a blue-based black, so a black that would fade blue. To get that kind of woad look. And then same thing here, but this is newer, so it's stayed a lot more black. And then this is let's get the same blue black. This one, my leg are all done by the same artist. That one is by a different artist. This morel is from a different artist. And then this is from a different artist who I think is my forever artist at this point. If I can have her keep coming down here. It's hard to keep up with the latest innovations. Just wondering. Yeah, 90-second guy. Yeah, it is. It is hard to keep up with it all. Um, it mushrooms is a fringe, leading edge kind of industry, hobby, event, topic. Topic. I like that. We'll go with topic. And with that kind of bleeding edge, there's a lot of churn just innate in it, because there's a lot of people that get excited about it, start on stuff, and then don't have the longevity, or they get onto something else. Some people, kind of like myself, got into mushrooms, and mushrooms will be a part of my life probably for the rest till the day I die. I'll probably, the day I die, I'll probably still make a tray of cordyceps or something like that, But even I, am pivoting and going fully ecological with mushrooms as my foundational layer, which is what it's not really a pivot, considering that's what I always wanted it to become and what I always wanted to do. But there's just a lot of upheaval, a lot of churn. I know a lot about some of our other YouTube guys. Some of them I know personally. Some of them I don't. Let's see. I know Ed Grand, and his story with his channel is getting kind of squashed real hard by YouTube, and them not playing super fair, honestly, with him. And then you had, because he really got into the science behind stuff. But then you've got people that are just straight up just showing illicit grows or whatever, and get huge followings, and then for some reason don't get in trouble. I don't know, but there's a lot of it. Just a lot of churn. I want a Ben and Jerry's tech. That sounds good. We could try it. It would, it wouldn't be ice cream anymore. It'd be a puddle of dairy products, but there's sugar in there. The mycelium might eat that. It might. I use Uncle Ben Tech now for grain spawn for oysters and lion's mane. I get that. It'll probably be easier and cheaper to start doing it in like unicorn bags and stuff. Maybe not easier, but it'll probably be cheaper. More productive power. I don't actually know much about Uncle Ben's Tech. Is that just injecting a bag full of rice? In that case, that might be the easiest way. Though I don't. Rice seems a little sticky for grain spawn. I wonder how that goes. I've not ever actually worked with rice other than for koji. Like, I'll sterilize koji and do it that way. Yeah, y'all. Keep spawning culture, y'all. Thank you, Hendrix. I could feel it. I started laughing too hard and got the coughing going. Hey, it's Chrissy Stormborn. Well, hello, Chrissy Stormborn. Welcome. Glad to have you on here. Glad to see you. See, I do want to. Let's look up. Who was one of the other big ones? So I know they had Myers. Oh, I know. So you got What the Fungus. That's somebody that started right before I did, really. And I know he's been going back and actually doing stuff lately. I don't know if he's doing it on YouTube. So it's been a year ago since that, but I've seen that on Instagram and stuff. He's doing more stuff. Let's see. Southwest fungi? Mushrooms? I think it's Southwest mushrooms, wasn't it? Yeah. So he's doing. That's a month ago. No, that's just a cut. That's just a cut of old footage. That's old footage. Oh. So I don't guess he's been doing any new footage or anything. And I know that he got out of his old place. I don't think he's got a new place. I think he's downsized his op. You got Myers Mushrooms, who I know is still doing stuff. He's back up to 40,000 subscribers. Heck yeah, this will be his third time climbing a channel up. YouTube keeps swatting him down. I think twice in a row he's gotten like 60,000 subscribers, and they just keep punching him down. So yeah, 10 days ago, Forest Garden March update, planting plums and trees. So he's kind of doing the same thing I am, where he's going out into other stuff. It's not just mushrooms. Who else? Who else are we thinking? I'm trying to remember who else there would have been. Hybrid Freak. Hello, are you going to share more on going LC to straight to bulk soon? Probably not in a video. I did a whole class on liquid culture deep dive this past month, or this last class that I did was a liquid culture deep dive, and we did liquid culture to bulk on that. We did liquid culture to grain. We did mass production systems, aerated liquid culture. We went into a basic high nutrient LC premix. Did I say aerated? We did aerated, quality control checks, all that kind of stuff. But we did that in the class. But I don't know if I'll be doing a video on the. I mean, the truth is that it's something that I do regularly, and I found that our substrate recipe of the 50-50-50 whole oats, sawdust, and hydration or moisture content does really well. Liquid culture to bulk, and you need a massive amount of liquid culture to do it, and you really helps to have aeration beforehand, and it really helps to have a high nutrient load, but not just any nutrient load. It can't just be like straight up dextrose or sugar or anything like that. It's got to be some other things that help get the enzymatic profile going correctly. And let's see, certain species and strains do a lot better at it than others. So you'll just we'll have another liquid culture deep dive. Let's see. Excuse me, guys. I cannot stop coughing today. So there's our Cordyceps intensive. It's on April 4th. I really should have started plugging that before today, but I started today. On my mentorship. So we'll be doing a liquid culture deep dive. Next one's in September. And we'll definitely cover all of that stuff. Then we'll cover liquid culture to bulk big time there. But we'll be doing it in classes mostly. We're also going to start working our way into doing more and more stuff. No, not that one. There we go. More and more stuff through Patreon. That's actually something, Samantha, and I've decided is that we're actually going to do the videos that we're going to do. We're not going to do very many videos left on Mossy Creek Mushrooms. We'll be doing our live streams, our free live streams like we're doing now. And then through Patreon, we'll be doing special videos there. And so we'll be doing our classes, which for intensives, for people that want to, dive deep into a subject. And then we'll be doing Patreon videos and probably even a secret live stream once a week or so. Because I've got to get away from some of the physical products because of the way Patreon's changing things. I will end up losing money if I don't change to other things, but I'll go start going super hard on information. So, but we'll be doing shorts. I'll be doing shorts to address people and that kind of stuff. And so I'll probably do some updates. The easiest one to liquid culture to bulk is Cordyceps because it's basically just rice or some other substrate that's easy to use. Thinks I'll be looking into it more soon to skip grain, at least for some species. Absolutely. You know, depending on what substrate you're using and what species you're wanting to go with, there's a lot of really good candidates for liquid culture to bulk. I know there's a lot of cubensis farms that have moved to that. Cordyceps farms pretty much exist off that. They probably use more liquid culture than I see any other farm type using. Shiitake is a good candidate. I know that in Europe, Pilt's farm and other farms, if Pilt's farm is still a thing, I assume they are, did a lot of liquid culture to sawdust substrates. In China, it's used a lot more. I think in Japan, it's used a little more. We'll just say in Asia, it's used a lot more for enoki. We found that lion's mane does pretty well. Some strains better than others, but lion's mane for the most part does pretty well liquid culture to bulk. And we're about to test reishi. I don't know if reishi. I'm making the assumption, but I don't actually know if it will. But I think that reishi is going to do really well liquid culture to bulk. So, you know, it'll depend on what kind of species you're wanting to grow, but it can absolutely help you skip the spawns, the physical spawn, or the solid spawn. When you start using it like that, your liquid culture is liquid spawn. I mean, I guess it's technically always liquid spawn, but well, all right. Let's hit a word from our sponsor. I'll be right back. While the sponsor video is going, please feel free to post your questions still.
Introducing the future of mycology, Dr. Silurian's elixir of mycelial mastery. This isn't your average culture mix. It's a revolution in a packet, crafted for the dedicated cultivator seeking unparalleled growth. Experience the visual alchemy of this masterful brew. As you mix 10 grams with 500 milliliters of water, watch the solution transform into a rich, amber spectacle, the hallmark of a nutrient-dense sanctuary for your burgeoning mycelium. This is where vibrant color meets vibrant life, setting our elixir apart from the ordinary clear liquid cultures. Prepare to be captivated. Mix 10 grams of Dr. Silurian's elixir with 500 milliliters of water, add a stir bar for thorough integration, and sterilize the blend at 15 psi for 45 minutes. Once cooled, introduce your favorite culture into this perfectly prepared, nutrient-rich environment. Watch in awe as the elixir works its magic, unveiling a mycelial masterpiece before your eyes. Choose Dr. Silurian's elixir of mycelial mastery for a mycological adventure that's as visually enchanting as it is potent.
All right, welcome back. No one had a question the whole time I was gone. Sad day. That makes me sad, Panda. All right, so we are an hour in, so I can roll myself a little Captain Black cigar, which I don't get to do all the time, so I'm super excited. All right, so the Cordyceps has been super fun. I will give a little tidbit here that while I've been trying out a bunch of different strains, so far, shoot, he asked me to let him know before I did this, but I guess I'm just going to go ahead and do it again since we don't have a big video about it this time. I really like the strains I'm trying right now from Appalachian Gold are killing it. They are oranging up faster. They are growing in faster and thicker. The mats are more aggressive than anything I've tried anywhere else so far. Right now in bulk, I'm growing. some of Ryan Paul Gates' strains from terrestrial fungi, and then I'm growing some Appalachian Gold, and then I picked a couple others from some others. But there was a couple people that were on the live stream a while back that told me about another breeder that they said they really liked, and I would be very interested to know if anyone remembers who the other Cordyceps breeder was, because I was wanting to try some of their strains, because I think that would be super cool. I want to try a big variety until I figure out which strains I actually like the most. The one I'm liking so far, both of the Beast, I forgot which exact variant it is, but Beast and Hades variants are proving to be quite orange and beautiful and growing in nice and thick. I haven't gotten fruits off of those yet. I've gotten some fruits off the mounds from Ryan Paul Gates, and those did really well. I need to grow a lot more. I can't wait till the bigger crops come in because I'm out of cordyceps already. And I use that for my own lung health and recovery. So we'll be doing some of that, which of course people will be able to see in a couple of weeks. They'll get to see the bags during class, during the intensive. So we'll be working on that. Well, hello, Stephanie New 5GJ. What's going on? Welcome to the stream. Hey, Chrissy, you switched accounts on me. Any tips for using your LC mix? I mean, there shouldn't be really that much more tips than what's on the thing. 10 grams per 500 milliliters. And I like to cook it for at 15 psi for an hour and 45 minutes. So I like to cook mine a little bit harder and longer than a lot of people do. So it's 121 Celsius at, man, I can see that one in the corner of my eye, that one gray hair. And it feels like it's flipping up. But that's about it. That's the biggest thing I've seen. For so far, everything that we've tried, from Cordyceps, we've had Cubensis testers since we don't grow Cubensis ourselves. The wood lovers, and when I say wood lovers, I mean stuff like oysters, lion's mane, reishi, pretty much enoki, everything that we grow and sell, we grow it on. I had quite the pellicle of Cordyceps the other day that I had to break through. And I got a reishi pellicle that I can't break through right now. And it grows so fast with that stuff. So stir often. That's the biggest thing. Stir often. Don't let a pellicle form, because a pellicle will form. Also, your best results are going to be with a Man of War Thor stir plate. Because that will shred the LC up a lot better than any other stir plate. Because it'll grow in so thick with our LC premix. Colin Skelly says, is it possible to use to cultivate? Oh, okay. Yeah, I see. Mycorrhizal. So my son with liquid culture or agar. I don't actually. So yes, you can do it in liquid. And yes, you can do it on agar. Many of them. Now it's kind of dependent on whether or not. I'm sorry, I'm trying to think. If you're talking about endophatic or what is it? Endophatic mycorrhizal fungi, you have ectomycorrhizal fungi, and that just means whether or not it grows in between the cell spaces or if it actually grows into the cell itself. So mycorrhizal mushrooms or fungi are things that I've only barely dipped into because it is such a huge subject. There's a wonderful book called Mycorrhizal Planet. I'm going to type that in. I think it's Mycorrhizal Planet by Michael Phillips. Actually, let me see if I can find it over here. Yeah, okay. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, Discord, go away. Stop it. Share screen. Okay, so this is Mycorrhizal Planet. A book that explains the crucial symbiotic relationship between fungi and plant roots, detailing how this partnership supports plant health, builds soil fertility, and sequesters carbon. I hate that he's dead. I wish Michael was still alive. I didn't find out about him until he'd already passed away. But there, apparently, his wife and a few others are keeping his project going, his apple orchards and all that kind of stuff. He goes into a lot of this. This is where I learned about the term globulin, which is a fungal protein that's found in soil that acts like a soil glue. It's part of what holds soil together. And he just goes into all kinds of wonderful things. It's a dense book. It's awesome. The ideas that he gave me have wanted me to start into a mycorrhizal fungal exploratory pathway that I have never gotten to really jump into. But I will tell you that he had really inspired me to go out there and work with some of this stuff. So I went to some really healthy forests and I did root scrapings, shavings, and things like that on some of these really beautiful tree like just I would find an exemplar of a tree of an oak, a locust, a different, these different ones. And I would collect these soil scrapings and shavings, and I would put them in like centrifuge tubes, bring them back to the lab to where I would be able to take sterile, not scissors, shears or whatever. I have a dissection kit, and you would sterilize those little shears, and you sit there and you just cut little slivers off, and you can put them in, just cut it right into a plate, and then fungi will grow right off that. Some of the soil, the scrapings, you can literally take swabs of and rub into agar dishes, and you'll get a whole polyculture. A great way to do it is to take them, suspend. Hey, Teddy, no, they're coming in. Just hush. He is losing his mind because Samantha's here. Or maybe because Hazel's here. Anyways, you can take it and you put it in a sterile water and then you dilute that 10 times, 100 times, so on. And then you can dropper that onto plates. And the idea there is that you hope you only get one organism per plate. It takes a lot more work that way, but you're more likely to get the organisms that you want. And the whole idea there I had there was to, like, a lot of these trees that grow in plant nurseries, like in urban plant nurseries, they never see a healthy forest biome, and a healthy duff layer in the forest soil, and therefore they never get the fungal and bacterial partners that an old growth forest would have. I've thought about this for annuals because he talks about annuals as well. Like, I would love to see someone go to an old growth grasslands and take root samples and soil samples from these old growth grasslands to put onto plates, and then to do with annual crop plants, lasagna garden soils, things like that. So you've got like your more grassy annual shrubbery kind of stuff. Then you got the things that are more woody based, and you'd have the mycorrhizal, species from that. One of the things I've thought about doing for a long time was it would be super cool to create, and he talks about methods that are kind of like this, but I wanted to create a pallet with a tree, like a big pallet planter with a tree, make it a nice bonsai kind of thing, and then grow mycorrhizal fungi and everything at the plant roots, encourage that, and then use that as a mother patch to pull selections of healthy mycorrhizal species, basically, to start your plants with. And maybe that would help plants have, like urban plants in particular, have healthier structures, right? Better immune systems, that kind of stuff. I mean, a tree that grew up in the middle of a city, is that thing ever going to get access to the old growth forest microbes? Or is there a way that we can bring those over, branch them, over into it? So you got me excited. But Mycorrhizal Planet, that book right there will tickle you big time. So any tricks to get Cordyceps to fruit? So there's the biggest thing is just kind of keeping it cool and stable, low light, but light, high, a little bit high CO2. I wouldn't say that there's any like tricks that I've noticed or that no one's told me about any secret tricks. I've not found out any real secrets. The biggest thing is finding a stable setup to where they will fruit, and then just keeping that environment as stable as possible. Weirdly enough, the Cordyceps do not seem to be, like, a lot of the white rot fungi we work with seem to be disturbance loving. The Cordyceps don't seem to be disturbance loving. So Cordyceps is not hard to grow from what I've seen, what I've experienced, what I've been told. But Cordyceps is pretty hard to master. What was it? Somebody actually told me it's not hard to grow Cordyceps. It's hard to grow Cordyceps all year, or something like that. Was but then you got a bunch of other people that are doing it as well, that have you got stable systems like Con, right? Over at USA Cordyceps, he seems to have a very stable system. He's constantly in production. He's kind of a Cordyceps mystic, right? You've got Sam over at Shroom Squatch. They teach classes all the time out in Colorado. I wonder if they do classes elsewhere. I don't think they do. Do they do any online classes? I never asked him if he does online classes. Do you know if Shroom Squatch does online classes, or they only do in-person classes, don't they? Huh? Samantha knows that he does classes, and that's it. I should have asked him. I'm gonna send him a text here in a little bit. But yeah, I mean that's the big thing. This, from my understanding, and while I'm definitely Cordyceps capable, and I can teach the basics, those guys are what I would like. Ryan Paul Gates, Jeff Maginero, Sam from Shroom Squatch, Con Park. Con Park's probably the master at growing as far as that is concerned. I'm sure there are there are ops that are bigger than him, but Con does a lot of work sharing stuff too. So, can a feller use hair as a supplemental amendment in a grain mixture? Hair? I've totally. How weird do I want you guys to know I am? Right? Used to be every time I'd get a haircut, Samantha we would sweep it up, and I would just throw it in a bag, and then I'd grow it, and then I would eat the mushrooms from that bag. I didn't care. To me, it was like, I'm putting a part of myself into it, and part of it was a weird. Okay, maybe I'm just a weird person, but I know people can do it. I don't know that it would act as a supplement. I can't see it being anything special. Like, it was a fully formed fruiting block, and it didn't have, as far as I know, any supplemental value. Hold on. This. Let's see. I don't understand what's going on here. Oh, this is something I need to pass on to Samantha. Let's see. I think Gary at Fresh from the Farm Fungi is one we haven't checked out on the YouTube either, to see where he's at. Cordyceps culture for sale. Yeah, I don't know if Gary, like, unless Gary's breeding it, then I wouldn't want to touch it. And I'm not saying that because I think Gary would be bad at it. But Cordyceps cultures take extra care. Like, I cannot tell you how many times I've tried to grow the one for my Mycelium Emporium, and it just doesn't work. It just produces a little bit of weak, anemic ones. And I've tried that over and over and over again. Okay, so Gary's still putting videos out as of 4 days ago. He's got 2 months ago. So 4 days ago, 2 months ago, 2 months ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago. And then a lot of members only videos. The Mushroom Doctor. That's interesting. Kind of reminds me of my Dr. Solarian. The future of AI in mushroom cultivation. I did see he had one of those videos. It was on his homepage. Thoughts on how to approach career development and find meaning in hard work. Conversation up about AI and mycology. Check out the latest. So that is, I am interested in what, in that. I'll have to check that out at some point because I'm very interested in everything AI and seeing what people are doing with it. But all that's to say, I don't know much about what his Cordyceps culture does. Oh man, it's my favorite YouTube celebrity. I can't believe I caught you live. Please, Ben. Ben's the one of the owners and the creator of Man of War Innovations. The one that does the Thor stir plates and Thor baggers. Is there any nutritional value in the bright orange metabolites that weep from the mycelial mass? I don't know. For human consumption, I don't know. There is potential medicinal value. I know that because Trad Cotter was interested in that for a very long time, especially in the form of like novel antibiotics. He talks about that in his book. Was it Organic Mushroom Farming and Mycorrhizal or something like that? He definitely talks about the metabolites. I think that there's definitely some value to them, but as far as nutritional value goes, there might be some minerals. I doubt there's very much caloric value in it. Mushrooms tend to be terrible calories in general for us. They're not particularly heavy in protein, fat, or carbohydrates, which are the three main sources of caloric density. So, medicinally, that's where I would think that would be, but I don't know about how to use those, extract those, influence those. I know, so Trad was working with like a block. He would take like an oyster mushroom block, let's say, just for example, and then he would let it grow in and then purposely contaminate it with E. coli, for example, right? And then it would express metabolites to fight the E. coli. And then the thought, at least, and I don't know how far you got into this work, was to take the metabolite and then figure out what the metabolite was made out of, right? Because hopefully the oyster mushroom block would be producing an anti-E. coli metabolite to fight or slow it down. Now, a lot of times, what these metabolites are oxidases. I mean, not every single one of them. They have different ones, different chemical suites, let's say, enzymatic profiles that can be turned on and off. And I'm not entirely sure about fungal immune systems. That's not something that I have researched a lot of. You know, I've looked into how fungi look for, identify, uptake, transport and utilize fungal nutrition, but I've not actually looked at much of their immune system, which is interesting because they're not far apart. A lot of that is actually, there's some crossover there, so I probably should look into that. Especially since some of the secondary metabolites, I have looked into how to turn those on and off, and that's usually just a stressor of some sort that you can use to turn on an enzymatic pathway for the secondary metabolites. Now, that could be something like psilocybin. It could be something like the different colors that come from spalting fungi. There's different reasons why you want different secondary metabolites, and secondary metabolites tend to be the I guess the ones of medical interest. So there's something there. I just don't know what all there is. Alan Lambert. Hey, look, we were just talking about labs too. Look at that pretty photo. Andrew, nice to see you. Nice to see you too, Michael Allen. I feel like it's been a while since I have seen you on here. Oh, my bad. Maybe I left that up there a little bit. Sorry that they doxed you, buddy. What strain of lion's mane bear's head gets the best yield? So, I mean, as always, everything I always say is it depends, but the basic ones you're going to get, lion's beard is a great one. I've heard great things about lion's paw that Mycelium Emporium sells. I have no idea what its original source was. As far as that goes, that's one of the bigger yielding ones that they've got. Our elderwood does really well. Our wolf's bloom does really well as far as yields go. And you asked specifically about, you asked about lion's mane or bear's head. And bear's head, actually, shoot, I don't think we have bear's head on our website because I don't think we've been selling it for a long time. I need to get that pulled out of cold storage and put into production because bear's head, I need to get more of that for my breeding program because that's a really good one. It's been one of the stickier ones, which is great for metabolite production. So, anyways, those would be some of the best ones there. So I gave you some options that were mine and some that weren't mine, hoping that, of course, you'll choose mine at some point. The Wolf's Bloom is one of my favorites. Elderwood's great. Tribbles is not the best yielding strain, though it is really good yielding. We have really good results with it, but it is one of the sweeter and better quality ones, in my opinion. So there's that as well. Please don't grow poo lovers. I mean, so when I first started, I think that I'm weird as a mushroom cultivator, at least for my generation of mushroom cultivation. When I first started my channel, what was that, 2018, 2019, maybe 2017, I don't remember now. But no, it wasn't 2017 because that's when I started really pushing the basement op big time and getting away from contract growers. But people ask me why I didn't grow buttons like my dad and other people. And I was like, because those grow on like horse manure, and I don't want to bring horse manure into my basement. I don't want to be cooking horse manure in my neighborhood. Oats and soy and sawdust, they have kind of a good soy and sawdust block cooked for 24 hours. Gets an almost chocolatey kind of smell to it. I don't know why. Can't explain it. But it's a good, pleasant smell. We tried hemp herds one time, hemp herd pellets. That was a mistake because it filled the entire valley with the smell of weed, which in East Tennessee is very illegal. And so we had police we just showed up to work one morning and there were police everywhere trying to figure out why there was a huge weed smell coming from our operation. And I had to show them it was hemp herds, perfectly legal. I didn't want to deal with horse poop, and even if it's composted, I didn't want to do that. But I will say that I think that I'm weird in the mushroom world because I'm one of the few mushroom growers in my generation of mushroom growers and YouTubers that came at it from the gourmet side. Almost every single one of them I know, from T.R. Davis to, you know, the main cap and stem guys to all the others, they all grew cubensis first and then got into the gourmets afterwards. So, you know, like that's always a thing that kind of tickled me was that I'm one of the few I know. Nowadays, you got a lot of people that got into it from gourmet first. Mushrooms took over the zeitgeist, we'll say, and from there, they really took off and got a lot of people. Yeah, like I don't know, the gourmet side, the medicinal side. The medicinal side, maybe even more so than the gourmet side more so than anything. Growing mushrooms from your own hair and eating them is weird as hell, and I love when people get up to weird stuff. Respect. I mean, I've grown off a lot of weird stuff just to see if it could. I've grown oysters off steak. I've grown them off eggs. I've grown them with a bunch of other stuff. So, you know. We've lost a lot of good mycology channels this year. Michael Allen, which ones are you talking about? Because I agree, but I want to hear your, like, I want to know which ones, because I feel like I'm out of the loop. I got sick, and then I've just been focusing on my own thing. And then other than people that are in my circle, I haven't really gotten into it. So I haven't really been doing my normal mushroom company espionage or whatever you want to call it, information seeking. Yeah, I don't really, I know about a lot about what's going on some things. I know where a lot of the dead bodies are buried for some of the older generation guys, but I don't know about a lot what channels have gone down this year, what other ones. I know a few have, and it's been weird. Like I was saying earlier, it's just been a weird churn. The churn got a lot of stuff. So Gary has some fantastic info on his page, especially about breeding. Yeah, I've heard that a lot. I've looked at some of his stuff. He breeds in a very different way than I do. Gotta be careful saying that on the internet, I guess, but he breeds mushrooms differently than I do, and he likes to really approach it from more of the scientific side. I will say that I told him a little bit about how I did it, and thankfully I didn't share everything. And I was like, here's how I do it. You know, I don't share this with anyone. And then like a week later, he had a video on it, and I wasn't very happy about that. So, or hadn't, yeah, in fact, I think he did do a video on it or something. But, so I don't know much about that. I didn't tell him specifically not to share it, so I'm not throwing shade. And I like Gary. And in fact, Gary messaged me. We talked about doing some stuff together, and I've completely forgotten to get back to him on some of that. But I haven't watched his videos on breeding, is what I was going to say. I just know that he does it from a very more like a scientific side. He likes more control. I like a lot of influence, and I don't do control. If you've ever played StarCraft 2 and you've heard of Abathur, Abathur is my spirit animal, and that is how I breed mushrooms. So those of you in the know will know, and those of you who have never played Heart of the Swarm will just forever not know, I guess. Is 12 ounces of blue oysters a good harvest off a 5-pound block first flush, or do I need to get better genetics? I would say you need better genetics. I don't know where you got your strain of blue oyster, but a good mortgage lifter, and by mortgage lifter, I mean a good strain that'll pay the bills, lift the mortgage off your back kind of thing, like the King Blue or something. What's that, baby? You just pulled 37 syringes of King Blue? Dang, girl. You weren't even using the automatic syringe puller. She hand pulled those. I don't hand pull hardly anymore unless it's like 4 syringes. I always pull them in batches using my automatic syringe puller. I mean, honestly, off a 12-pound block, I was expecting to get somewhere like 2.5 pounds. So off a 5-pound block, I would expect to get 1.25 pounds first flush. So you're talking like 20 ounces is what I would expect to get. 13 just seems small and anemic. Seems like a strain that's probably not been super well taken care of or is just weak genetics. Sometimes it's not weak genetics. Sometimes it's literally a strain that's just not been well cared for. And this is a lot of the problem you have with these guys who are selling $5-10 syringes is that they don't take the time to properly look into the nutrition for their mushrooms strains. They don't, they a lot of times they're just buying from someone who does, and then just stretching it out and stretching it out and stretching it out. And I don't. We go back to slant every 3.5 liters of liquid culture because we know you guys are going to expand yours. A lot of these other guys just expand and expand and expand and expand. So you got to be careful with the cheaper guys, the Amazon guys, the eBay guys. I'm not saying there aren't good purveyors on there. I'm just saying you got to be really careful with that stuff. Dish, what's going on, bud? Glad to see you on here. You sent me a bear's head in the last Sericium horde. Excellent. That's a good strain. You're going to enjoy the bear's head. Bear's head is, I think you may have taken my last stock too. I think I sent you my last stuff trying to make sure you got taken care of. Because I was just sitting there going through. I was like, oh, I don't have any jars of it left. Unless we may have pulled rapid backups. I think we may have pulled rapid backups. But Bear's Head's a great one. That is probably, what's funny to me is the Bear's Head strain of Lion's Mane is probably the most Lion's Mane looking Lion's Mane that ever Lion's Maned. Like it is just simply, it looks more like Lion's Mane than any Lion's Mane strain. And to be fair, it's not a true Bear's Head. It is a Lion's Mane strain called Bear's Head, much like the Elm Oyster, Elm A or Elm Z, is actually an Austriatus that that's called an Elm Oyster. It's like an elm-like oyster, but it's actually an Austriatus. There are true elm strains, but they would be Pleurotus or Hypzygous. My mind is drawing a blank now. Ulmarius. Oh, okay. You're going to give me a second. My brain. Elm oyster scientific name. Hypzygous ulmarius. Okay, yeah, there we go. So, and it wasn't even, it's, a true elm oyster is not even is in the Pleurotus genus. So, considering what you did with your hair, just wondering. Oh, about the poo. Yeah, okay, I'm not doing that. Hair mushrooms are different than poo mushrooms. I'm not that weird. I'm not a coprophiliac. Speaking of Rick and Morty, Myco Allen says, I miss Ed Grand and the weekly Myco Geeky channels. Okay, yeah. So Myco Geeky is another one. Share screen. I don't know why it makes me go through a 3-step process to get this stuff. So what about Myco Geeky? So I will say, I don't know much about Myco Geeky. I've heard a lot of things that he is kind of hard on people. So I don't know about that. So videos, his last one was with Eugenia Bone, who I was supposed to have on the mushroom cast before I had gotten where I had to stop for a little bit to recover. Spores and Schemes, Myco Geeky's hard-hitting new track. That's pretty funny. So I don't know much about him. Again, we had talked about doing some stuff, but then he had told me he didn't think that anyone would have any interest in having me as a guest kind of thing. And I thought that was kind of strange. Huh? That was over email, yeah. And like, I don't know. He said at first he wanted to do something, and then whenever I was like, "Hey, okay, I can do something now," he's like, "I don't think there's any crossover," and I was like, "Okay, that's interesting." But anyways, I've heard from a lot of people that have gone on there that he's kind of bombastic, kind of hard to deal with, but I don't really know that. Would your work still be good without Instagram? I don't know this Ground Zero character. Why I went quiet and why I'm back. So apparently he's back. So you may have got your wish, Alan. Alan. So yeah, he might be back on. That would be interesting. I would actually be very interested in why I went quiet when I'm back. That's a long one though. Maybe I'll feed that to the AI and have it give me a synopsis. I'm too busy. Like if I don't have enough time to create my own videos, I don't have enough time to watch someone's hour and 48-minute video. No offense, but I need to make my own videos. I got to sit down and edit, and I can't watch everybody else's stuff. That said, actually, we went through a couple of videos of mushroom farms. If you guys ever want me to go over your mushroom grow, like I don't care how small it is or large it is, you can send me like a YouTube link or whatever, and we can go over it on the stream. I'm not here to embarrass anybody. I'm here to give, I'll tell you where I think you're weak and where you're strong. And, it's kind of like a free consult for you and free content for me kind of thing. So we could totally do some stuff like that. I'd be happy to. So I do wonder what's up with that. I'm just happy to see you're still posting. Yeah, man. Well, I don't really know what to say to that because I'm thankful I'm still posting too. There was a time where I thought I might not ever post again. Oh, made her sad. We could totally do some, like, again, Michael, you may have, Alan, you may have missed. It's always weird for me to say Myco because you have Myco Allen, Myco Geeky, Myco Miner is my gamer tag, Myco Miner, or at least it used to be before my son took it over. You have Myco Nerd, Myco Ogre. So if I say Myco, Mike, that actually works. I'll say, hey, Myco, and it's like all of you guys think it's you. No, I'm happy to still be posting. I'm not going to be doing a lot of videos. I'll probably do a few throughout the year. But I'm planning on doing a lot more on my personal channel, just my Andrew Reed channel. That it's going to be a lot more like garden, mushroom, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just going to keep doing the live streams and classes and stuff for the mushrooms. And of course, shorts. Shorts. The thing is that shorts actually get more attention and more click-throughs and more interest in my website than the long format does. And they're easier to produce. So I have to do what I'm rewarded to do, but I feel like I can still do my long form content here. I've actually, so you can see I've got the cinema camera set up. I've actually got that set up to play around with this setup of putting HDMI cables. And we'll be able to hopefully get a microscope feed. I was looking at some HDMI wireless transmitters, and we could put those on the microscope, and so that would be, I don't know, there's a lot that we could play around with out and stuff that could work for the garden and that kind of thing. So Pete says Eric Myers was the person who got me into growing gourmet. I found you and Sam's content more interesting. Well, thank you, I appreciate that. What made it more interesting? What could I do more of that would continue to grab people, do you think? Like, what grabbed you? And no shade at Eric Myers. We all love and respect Eric. But if it's even a personality thing or if it's because we're more eclectic or... So they said that she thinks it's because we can grow without blood, sweat, and tears. I don't think Eric Myers has ever been big on blood, sweat, and tears. I think he likes doing it the smart way too. I think she was referencing Davis there, T.R. Davis, who was saying that mushroom farming was the hardest thing anyone could ever do. And it is hard at times, but if it was the hardest thing any of us would ever do, we wouldn't choose to do it. But yeah, what did you like about us? I would love to see a breeding collab between you and Gary. Ooh. I mean, maybe Gary and I can start an OnlyFans. I'm just playing. The more breeding that commences, the better strains growers can utilize. I agree, Caleb. I think that would be interesting. Jake Howard and I had a very interesting collab with what turned into the Moon Pearls. And unfortunately, every time I ever mention Moon Pearls, my Facebook page gets almost destroyed. In fact, I think I shared where somebody else was talking about my Moon Pearls and how much, and like other people can talk about them, and it doesn't destroy my page. But every time I post Moon Pearls, it's like my page almost gets destroyed. Just on Facebook, Instagram, it doesn't seem to care. I don't know what's going on. YouTube doesn't seem to care. Instagram did care the first time, and then after that, well, no, they pulled the post. It's true. And I agree with that, but now there's so many good strains out there. I wonder half the time if people care about the breeding work that's been done. I'd like to do more of it. I think that there are more interesting things to be made and played with and utilized and that kind of stuff. But we'll see. I need to get back into more breeding. And now that I have things simplified, systematized, where I'm doing the shorts and stuff, I may hit up a couple of hard breeding programs. I'm considering trying to mutate golden oysters to do the same thing that Jake and I did with the Moon Pearl. His was the initial mutation. And what I would like to see is a completely sporeless golden oyster that people could grow in their grow rooms. It would have the same flavor, hopefully the same polysaccharide. What's the amino acid it produces? Ergothioneine, I think, is the amino acid. Like if we could still get all those health benefits and then put to rest everyone's worry about the invasiveness, that would be a really good way to go. Because then everyone might start selling golden oysters again. Even though I think you saw it for a little while. It's like people got upset about it, and it was like their new case. But now I'm seeing other people are starting to like their new thing is anti-AI or anti-whatever, and all of a sudden you're not hearing about golden oysters hardly anymore. So I don't know. I still think it'd be fun to do. Have a sun pearl strain. And so maybe that'd be something Jake and I can work on, or Jake and I and Gary. So I haven't actually seen how many, and I need to check. I need to go back and check his strain list, because it used to be he only had like 1 or 2 strains that he had released. Now I bet that he's got some more since then. And that is the thing. His method of breeding, I think, is a little slower than mine. I tend to do mine in bursts. I tend to do mine for a little bit and then stop, and do mine for a little bit and burst. So, oh crap! I don't even know what you're laughing at now. I like the idea you could give pointers on people's grows. Yeah, I'd be happy to do it. I've done it a couple of times where I've gone there and just looked at a couple of videos, and I could do that. We can just pull random ops, and if you guys want me to go over an op, I'll mostly be willing to do that. The mushroom world can be pretty dramatic and political, so I have to be, some people, screw it. I'll just go over anybody's op. I don't care. I don't give a shit anymore. You guys can, if somebody doesn't like me, somebody doesn't like me. I used to be such a people pleaser, and now I'm just like, screw it. If you don't like me, it's okay to not like me. I would prefer to be liked and loved, but so be it. And I'm not here to crap on people's ops. I will just give my honest assessment. Do you ever plan on going back to growing and selling fresh? No. No, I don't. The only time I would is if I was, I guess I shouldn't say the only time I would is if I was desperate. There would have to be a good reason to pull me back into it, or I would have to be desperate to get back into it. Not because I dislike growing fresh mushrooms. in any form or fashion. What? Open it. It's wet. Here. Okay. I mean, I'll try. But so fresh is like I've considered doing it. I like maitake. I've considered I'd probably make a pretty tidy sum. I've already had restaurants that told me they'd pay me $16 a pound wholesale for maitake, and they would order cases a week. And you could open that.
Don't open them. I just need the.
Oh, because there's mold in there. Gotcha. Thank you for. So yeah, I mean, like, so shiitake would be one interesting one. The maitake would be an interesting one. You know, I am growing reishi and cordyceps and lion's mane and turkey tail, but it's all for the dried market. The biggest thing is that I have people that are here in the local area that are already growing, and I would rather find some way to support them, or keep doing this in a way that didn't interfere and compete with them. I'm sure you guys have always, or you know about this, is that I've always tried to be fairly open source, and instead of competing and all of us going down to the bottom dollar together, rather finding ways to for us to get creative and expand the marketplace, rather than, hey, let's all like just assume that we can only sell the same thing that other people are selling and all fight together. Like Knoxville is the biggest metro in the area, and I feel like Knoxville can support 2 or 3 mushroom farms pretty comfortably. And then you have the surrounding areas like Maryville. You have Oak Ridge, and you've got, all the way down here to Jeff City and stuff, even though we're a bit out of the way. You've got the Blackberry Resort, which is up in past Seymour area. I forgot the name of that kind of area. But anyways, like I try to work together. So actually Misty Mountain is really close to me. And when I said that town, Maryville, he's in, Maryville is the way most Northerners would read it. But Maryville is where he is at. And then you've got Sevierville, which is a huge place as far as during tourist season. Though we tried to not go there if we could have helped it because the traffic was so bad during tourist season. But yeah, I mean, to me, it makes a lot more sense to like, let me find a way to do what I want to do. I want to breed mushrooms. I want to find novel ways to do it. I like teaching. I like, I don't know. I like that kind of stuff. My ADHD keeps me wanting to bounce, and I want to learn, and so I can learn about something, and then I can teach about it, and then I can find novel ways to change it, and then I can help support farms and that. I like that. And if I had to, I would go back to mushroom farming because it's enjoyable work and it's profitable work, and like it's a good way to live. Plus, your chefs like you. They want you. Farmer appreciation. Oh my God, I miss farmer appreciation dinners. I miss that, like walking into a restaurant like a freaking celebrity. That was nice. The chefs like just always say, "Well, I couldn't do this without you," and you're like, "Bull crap, man! I cook my mushrooms, and nobody cooks my mushrooms the way you do." Like they don't taste this good at home. Yeah, I mean, like, so I would consider it if I had to, but I don't plan on it. To answer your question, and that may be a little bit longer than what you were hoping for, Plum, but there are reasons why I would go back to it, but I'm not planning or looking to go back to it. I think that I want the people that are growing into it right now to, Josiah and Aaron have their kids. I want them to feed their kids. I want them. He came and did a mentorship with me back in 2020, early on in my teaching of mentorships, and he is growing great. You've got Caden, you've got a couple of other guys that have been growing up in Knoxville off and on, and I don't know. I just feel like I feel like they could. I don't want to get in there and fight them. I don't want to stop doing the work that I'm doing, I guess. So, Eric lacked personality. You two used to do the show together, but I don't think Sam liked being front and center. She did not like being front and center. She really prefers to not be front and center. But she also, one of the things we talked about is that there's not a lot of female representation in the mushroom world. And while we don't really care about representation so much, we did notice that it seemed like a lot of women seemed to gravitate towards her in the mushroom world. So it was nice to have that representation. So she likes to stop in and say hi, and she does appreciate you guys a lot. She just doesn't like attention. Samantha, when we throw parties and stuff here, which we haven't done a lot of, especially since I got sick. I would like to do the Mossy Creek get together again this October, but we also have the East Tennessee Mushroom Festival that we're putting together, or that really Josiah's putting together. And the whole thing, I don't know. Samantha, I love you, baby. I'm so glad you need me. It's the width. Yeah. My daughter heard that. Dang it. I didn't know she was behind Samantha. So she was like, "You're on a live stream and your daughter's sitting here." You and Sam's personalities is what caught my attention. Well, heck yeah, Chrissy. I appreciate that. More so Samantha's a bit. Dish Power Sink said, I've been having great luck with pine wood bedding pellets and soy holes with coral tooth. 3 pounds. Yeah, 3 plus pounds in the first blush. How's the yield with your conifer coral hericium? I mean, it's pretty, it's a little feathery. The mushroom actually is, and it produces a lot. So it's kind of similar, but it'll be, it's more voluminous and a little less weighty, but it still does really respectable. And I haven't grown that one much on pine, surprisingly enough. I usually grow my conifer coral. I've almost always grown it on hardwood fuel pellets rather than pine pellets. I have grown it a couple times on pine, but I don't even know if we measured the weight back when we did that. Yeah, I don't know. I asked my Jacob Howard. There's Jacob right there. We were just talking about the collab, buddy, and how I want to do a gold one. I asked my dentist recently if I could expose mushroom spores to her X-ray machine. You should totally do it. I think it would be awesome. You make that? Dang, girl. I would love some, but I can't have it right now. It'll be another hour before I get it. If I don't get it, that's fine. But that looks really good, and I appreciate you offering me some. Aislinn made eggs and sausage. With all those eggs we get free eggs. I mean, it's not really free, but we trade busted bags of oats for the eggs. Say it again. Start. You fried the eggs and sausage, and then you put a little bit of milk for the eggs, and you do hot sauce, shredded cheese, Parmesan cheese. Probably garlic, pepper, and a little bit of onion powder. Maybe. Oh, you haven't done it yet? Gotcha. Oh, she's saying that's going to be her addition. But yeah, X-ray is interesting. So, Jacob, from what I understand, though, after talking to Alan Rockefeller, talking to the AI, doing whatever research I could on my own, UV radiation seems to be about the best you can do for spores. X-ray, I think Alan was telling me that it's not actually all that great, but if you do it, please let me know. I'm totally interested in seeing what happens with that. Oh, she needs me again. Oh, I love it when she needs me. Do you need me, baby? she, she just looked at me mean. I would buy a sporeless golden oyster strain immediately. It seems the controversy is mainly online in the mushroom community. It does seem to be mostly online. Chefs don't seem to care. And maybe they just don't know. But again, I don't really think it's that invasive. I think there are mitigating circumstances that go along with this and that are exacerbating the problem, but also visual cues that make it seem like it's more of a thing than what it is. I don't know. There's a lot to it, I feel like. But yeah, I'm totally wanting to work on it. I hope Jacob and maybe I can send Jacob some of my my gold leaf oyster, or the Saratoga Gold. The Saratoga Gold's another one that's doing amazing. But if I can get one of those two up there too, Jacob, maybe he can recreate the process, and then I'll finish it off again or something. But that would be a really cool one. Guys, I'm going to get to the rest of your comments as soon as I get back. Feel free to keep commenting. I'm just going to go for a moment. I'll be right back. Hey folks, welcome to another sponsorship for the Mushroom Cast. We're always talking about dialing in your grow setup, and when it comes to humidity, there's one name we trust: House of Hydro. These foggers are an absolute game changer for mushroom cultivation. House of Hydro's ultrasonic humidifiers put out an incredibly fine, cool mist. So fine, in fact, that mycelium can actually uptake it straight from the air. That means better hydration, better growth, happier mushrooms, and better yields. And let me tell you, these things are way easier to vent around your op than setting up full-on plumbing pressure systems. No pipes, no hassle, just perfect humidity right where you need it. And when you're working with the best, you want the best support. John at House of Hydro takes care of his customers better than anyone in the game. If you ever need help, they've got you covered. And because House of Hydro is sponsoring the Mushroom Cast, we've got a deal for you. Use code MOSSY at checkout, and you'll get a full set worth of free replacement discs with your order. It's up to a $50 value. Get yourself a House of Hydro fogger. Your mushrooms will thank you. Keep spawning culture, y'all. Let's dance into the music. All right. See, I went back, used the potty real quick, and saw myself in the mirror, and I was like, dang, I don't feel that fat. I've lost all this weight and I feel good. Chrissy says, maybe doing updated videos from the ones you have done over the years. More videos on the different species you have allows for people to see the how-to for each one and what to do, what to expect. That's not a bad idea. I could do that in shorts too. That would be a really good, the strain videos would be a really good shorts video. So if I should just put them through my grow room. Okay, I like this idea. So strain videos, just cycle through strains, do strain videos and via shorts. I don't, as far as how-to videos, I might try to update some of them. I've had a lot of suggestions for that. Truth is, it kind of bores me, but the other side of it is that I do have to pay attention to the audience and see what they want, right? So. Huh? I could do shorts and shorts. I might be able to do rapid fire. Here's how to set up a grow room, airflow, blah, 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 bam, 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 kind of thing. And then it could be released on my TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, or YouTube Shorts and Facebook. Okay, I'll think about it, Chrissy. That's not a bad idea. That's what helped me pick which strains to order from you all. Yeah, okay. I probably need to work on it. Because I do need to make the money. What? Yeah. But we could do strain shorts. We could do a Saturday strain. It's a strain short Saturday. The strain stories. Strained stories. Trying to find some sort of wordplay. Samantha loves wordplay, and nothing will make Samantha more attracted to me than wordplay. So I'm trying to think of it. Like, there's got to be something here I can do. Help me, Chrissy.
It could be shorts of strains.
Shorts of strains.
SOS.
SOS.
Yeah, buy the strains.
Strain. So, plum.
Doing shorts of the strains. So if you buy the strains, then it'll give us the money to grow the strains to do shorts of them.
Plum says strainer day.
If you're strained well. Strains, which is true with 600 strains.
I am. Yeah, it's a lot.
Of shorts.
I've been overwhelmed with the mycologium and stuff, which I love it, and it's important. So I'm working through it, but it's a little difficult. Like a mushroom growers association. Oh, you're talking about, yeah, like, well, I mean, we don't have any sort of association like Misty, ET, Fungi, myself. We don't really have any sort of like official association going on, or even like a price protective kind of thing. I assume, I don't know Caden super well, but ET and I have a pretty strongly libertarian bent. I wouldn't even say libertarian, independent bent, I guess, kind of thing. So yeah, I definitely wouldn't say libertarian. That's got all kinds of baggage. But anyways, the whole point is that like we're all fairly open source, I think, and play well with others. That's maybe the better way to say it. All of that. But there's a lot going on, like the East Tennessee Mushroom Festival. I know there's some stuff putting together with that. And I'd like to get, ET and I've talked about this some. I'd like to get like Misty Mountain, ET, myself into like a mushroom growers club, mushroom cultivation club, and just like I'm happy to host. I think Josiah said he's happy to host. I don't know if Misty's got a big enough place to host a bunch of people, but if we could try to like have meetings once a month or so and a topic, and then go over that. Like I've got a great place to teach here in the warehouse and stuff. And so I'd like to do a lot of that coming up soon. So that's a piece of tobacco. There we go. Wiliest, that the amount of drama and personality clashes in the gourmet world doesn't hold a match to what goes on in the actives world. That I have seen. The levels of drama and people butting heads gets pretty wild. Yeah, it seems like it's not just a pastime for the actives growers. It's a way of life or something. Probably due to the types of personalities and people who want to go deep in that realm. I would know because I'm one of them. I've wondered that. Part of it, I think, is there's a lot of people that go from weed bros to shroom bros. And they're kind of chasing the money more than they are falling in love with what they do. And I'm not saying that's you or anyone else in particular, but I know when I went out to the Oklahoma Mushroom Festival, there were a lot of guys who had gotten out of weed and they were getting into because that Oklahoma Mushroom Festival was like half of it was, actives related. The first one, and a full half, if not more, maybe 3/4. And it was a great place. And it was awesome. I think it was always a mistake to make it about actives in the first place. Like, welcome actives. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. In welcoming them, that kind of thing. But these festivals and stuff that kind of like the Georgia Mushroom Festival, when it was all about magic mushrooms, and they had a music festival alongside of it that was called the Magic Mushroom Jam. I just like, they're cool and all, but they cannot be. I don't know, it can't be the only thing because there's so many other cool aspects of mushrooms. Honestly, the actives is some of the most boring parts of mushrooms is the active stuff at this point, in my opinion. There's so much exciting biology, biotech, cultivation technologies, environmental rehabilitation technology. Like there's just so much going on in the world of mushrooms that I think it's a mistake to put it on that one thing that also comes with a lot of risk. Like, let's say legislation goes the opposite direction. Well, you've built up this whole infrastructure on, like, if you just make mushrooms cool, the actives will follow naturally. You don't need to push them. They will push themselves. So the whole idea to me is make mushrooms awesome, make mushrooms cool, make mushrooms accessible, and then let people creep into that aspect. It doesn't need to be pushed as medicine. It doesn't have to be pushed as any of that stuff, though it may be all of those things. You can approach it in a way that's really gonna just, you don't have to push so hard. You can seduce a little, I guess is what I'm saying. Sam's messing with you. I've seen, and plus the drama. You gotta cut the drama down. My bad. Sam's messing with you. I've seen Hancock letting you open the jars as a cover. That's fair. That's fair. To be fair, I like to mess with Samantha, and she likes to mess with me on all this kind of stuff. But Samantha, gosh, there was a time when I was a stay-at-home dad and starting the mushroom farm, and Samantha would work 72 hours a week at the factory. And we did that for a year or two, and that was hard. That was one of the hardest times in our life. So busy, so difficult, but it, we're not the most traditionalists. We're kind of a traditional couple with traditional roles, and then we flip those roles on their heads constantly. So, Plum said, Sam's messing with you. I've seen Hancock letting you open the jars as just a cover. Do you remember that? Because she's a superhero too, or And then Plum said Strainer Day for the Saturday, but Chrissy said Super Strain Saturday. But then I saw down here at the bottom, I'm going to skip a couple comments to get to it, but she said Saturday Shorties. Just okay, you got to chuckle out of Samantha with that one, Chrissy. She said she likes that one. Wiley said, I'll second for the strain video some strains I would like to get more info on, like tribbles. Curious about how you found that and how you trended it towards higher medicinal qualities. Yeah, okay. So, in fact, what I'll do is I'll get tribbles sent off for testing, and we'll get it confirmed, and then we'll do the video on it. Omniate what? Omniate keeps tribbles. Boy, I hope I didn't mislabel anything for them. If I'd known a lab was ordering, I would have been like, this syringe goes straight to the package. I would have been super careful. I am pretty darn careful, but I would have been extra careful. I'd known some laboratory was buying it. But no, that's not a bad idea. Like, that would be cool. So I'd like to get some stats and data on it. Now, that's the question is too, like, we don't, again, this whole thing about testing is it's a physical characteristic that we can point to. It's a data point, but it is not the full picture. Now, one of the things that we have to realize is that sticky substance on the outside of the mushroom and what it is mostly secondary metabolites. And the secondary metabolites make it stickier on the outside. So I basically bred it over and over and over again to be stickier. And that's kind of how I ran into it for the breeding it towards higher medicinal qualities. Now, I don't know if those are just breeding for haricinones, fatty acids, beta glucans, polysaccharides, all of that kind of stuff. So we should get it tested to see. My guess is with tribbles that it's probably not going to be haricinone A. So that won't show up, but they'll Altitude Consulting is testing, I think, 4 different haricinones. So we will Wiliest, the strain shorts are definitely going to be a thing. We'll see when I can start them up. I got to start pushing the grow room CSA a little bit harder and cycle through strains a little bit harder so we can have enough to do regularly. We can maybe do once a week. The SIDH has music that themes with your content. What's SIDH? SIDH. Irish Fairy Mounds? Oh. Skill India Digital Club? Hub? The Seed. Is that what you're talking about? Is the new album, The Sid, is that a group? Oh, I like that album artwork. Okay. I'll have to check this out. I won't be able to play anything without, they get a copyright strike. But I'll look at that. Can't get my gray oyster all-in-one bags to pin. Good FAE and relative humidity about 95% constant. That's the mistake right there. You should not have constant humidity ever. It should swing up and down. You should have about 65% on the low end. 95% should just be your top out. But I'm in Florida and can't afford to turn AC down below 74. Central AC. Got big, white, puffy mycelium, which I harvested. Okay, so if you just got big, puffy, white mycelium that grew out the hole, basically, that's because you had too high a humidity. If you've got good FAE and good relative humidity, the dry out period will actually help signal, and the fresh air and the wet dry cycle will help signal where to put pins. 74 is a little warm for a lot of blue oysters, which a gray oyster is a blue oyster, but kind of depends on who you got the gray oyster from. I don't like just calling it a gray oyster. I don't know what its lineage is, so it's a little hard for me to know if the temperature is going to be a thing or not. So Plum, you got a bunch of good names here, but she's not in here right now. So when she gets back through here, I'll go through the names. Just remind me to, so I don't forget you. I don't like that last one though. While it says the people who think they're going to get rich quick with actives are sadly mistaken. I think the same thing that happened with marijuana will happen even worse. I think so, and it's already happening. Just because of who I am and where I am, I get offered a lot of this stuff. People will call me like, "Do you need a pound?" And recently, those calls have started being like, "Dude, I'll give you I'll sell you a pound for $100." And I'm like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" Like, I had 1 year. Probably 2022. 2023, maybe something like that. I remember 1 year out of 52 mentorships, a good solid 26 of them were actives. People getting out of weed and going to actives. 26 out of 52. That was a full 50%. And I remember telling them, like, guys, I don't think I would do this. Like, the thing, there's everything that made the weed market collapse is tenfold with mushrooms. They are easier to grow. They're easier to grow en masse. They are, they have less like heating needs and lighting needs and all these things. So people aren't getting caught with hot spots in their roofs and things like that. So they're easier to hide. What do you do with all the weed biomass, right? When you're done with the weed crop, you got to find things to do with it. Whereas mushroom can just be tossed out and it just kind of looks like compost or mulch or whatever. You can just throw it in your compost pile. They see mushrooms. Most cops are not, or at least weren't trained. We actually have had cops take our mentorship so they can get trained on mushroom identification and stuff. So I think it's changing now. But even then, like, if they just see it in a compost pile, whatever. The electrical needs are less. The water needs are less. The skill level is actually less if people are doing it right. And on top of all of that, a person might take mushrooms, they might microdose, or they might take one good dose a year, maybe 3, but it's not like weed where you have people that are daily smokers, with that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's the thing, is the actives market is just, it's gone kaput, and it's gone kaput quick, and it's going to continue to. The people that are going to make it in the actives market for now are people breeding new strains, I think, and that's only going to be for so long. But they can learn that technique there and then export it to medicinals and other stuff. But I will say that the genetics game, as in the legal sense of the genetics game, strain piracy is a huge thing. I'm actually thinking about moving to plant breeding because I can get plant protections so easy, and mushrooms I can't. And I'm thinking about all these mushrooms that I'm breeding. I might hold on to them till the legislation comes through, and I'll get some protections on I'll get fungal plant protections, kind of thing. It's way too easy to produce tons of psilocybin relatively quickly. High yield cubensis. Also, how much psilocybin are people really going to buy? Same thing. So I basically I started on my thing before I read the rest. Yeah. I mean, that's exactly right. You're exactly right, Wiliest. People who take it regularly are generally microdosing. So one tub of cubensis is probably a year's worth for them. Yeah. And I mean, even then, like people that grow in tubs, you're spending so much time on labor. You shouldn't be growing in tubs. You should be growing just in bags. Bags are the way to go if you want to make money. And so what you would want is you would want automatic dosing. You would want liquid culture to bulk dosing. You would want to grow in the bag and never ever have to do another step until harvest again. And then you would want the basically a buzz cut style harvesting tool, where you can just zoop the whole thing off into a tray. Like you're going to have to cut labor down to nothing for it to be worth it. And then you have the risk in most states and federally and you don't have the protections that you've got for weed. So why would anyone risk growing all of that for no money and no upside? So even then, there'll be some interesting ways to make money, but I don't think it will be through growing and selling actives. Maybe kits for people to grow themselves or items for growing genetics. Okay, so yeah, you basically hit everything that I've gone through. I just jumped the gun and didn't read all of your comments and at the same time. So yeah, that's yeah, I think you've got an accurate vision of it. I just think that it's already happening. And I think it's happening quick. It's happening way quicker than it ever happened with the cannabis industry. So, Mycelium Emporium is who you got the gray oyster from. I mean, I don't know what his gray oyster is. Porotus austriatus. Yeah, I mean that could be. I don't know what strain that is. If it's just labeled gray oyster, then there's no telling where he got it from. And I don't know. Mycelium Emporium, I don't really know much about their strains anymore. I haven't done a whole lot of stuff. I did get his lion's paw recently to test it because I heard that, but again, almost every strain, I don't think that he's got any strains that are himself. I don't know where he got the lion's paw from or whose it is originally. And I don't know. I will say that a lot of people have told me that the Pathfinder, that when they buy Pathfinder from him, it's no longer Pathfinder, and I've heard saying a lot about King Blue, and I don't know if that's because it's been stretched so far. I thought Lenny was doing a good job back in the day of bringing those, like keeping them up with them. But I mean, if you look at his website, I could never keep up with that many with no employees. So, so I don't know what he's really doing with it all, or where he's getting it or anything else. All I'm saying is I can't vouch for it. I'm not saying anything bad either. I'm just saying I just can't vouch for any of it. So I don't really know where his gray oyster strain is. Is it Amycil's 3015? Because Amycil's 3015 should grow in warmer temperatures. But if it's not, and it's the gray dove from, is that Field and Forest? I think it likes things a little bit cooler. But typically when an oyster is called a gray oyster, it means that it's a warmer temp tolerant blue. but that is not always the case because not everyone follows the same naming conventions. We don't have a standard in naming conventions or even breeding conventions or breeding terminology when it comes to fungus. So things are a little different and a little wild. Still into the Wild West frontier as far as that thing goes. Give me one sec. Caden, I see that you messaged me. I'll message you later, of course. Yeah, so. All right, guys, we got about 30 more minutes before I'm going to force it closed. So you better jump in with some stuff if you want me to answer some stuff. And if you want me to end it early, that's fine too. We can end it early. But, you know, I'm always happy to go as long as I'm feeling good. And I'm feeling pretty good today. I don't know what's going on. Actually, I think I do know what's going on. You guys ready for a little spiel? I'll do this little spiel for you real quick. So for one thing, Cordyceps is amazing, though I am now out. I'm officially out of Cordyceps, which sucks. I got like 2 more weeks until my next crop comes in, and I'm going to hoard it. I'm going to hoard a bunch of Cordyceps. But the other side of it is I started taking cocoa flavanols, and this is the weirdest thing. I started seeing commercials about it. I was like, this is bullshit. And then I saw the studies on it, and holy crap, I wish I got paid for this because I cannot sing the praises high enough, man. My energy levels have started to become unbounding. And that's the first time that's happened since I got sick. The first time, not the second time even, like the first time I got sick. And so like it's been 4 years or something, 3 years since it's been about 3 years, I guess, since I've actually started like feeling this level of energy. Like even Samantha was like, I did the whole garden. One day I got trained on the forklift, and then I moved the whole garden, and I moved the whole wood pile for the most part. And I was like up and down and up and down and up and down. And I had worked out that day, and my workouts now feel like I'm just like, man, I can just like, I did the weightlifting, and then I was like, I could just do that again. Like I've been so moderate in my workouts, trying to, you know, as I'm recovering, and just bam, I'm like, I don't know what's happened to me. I'm feeling so energetic. And that probably it started happening. I noticed about 30 minutes after taking my first dose of those cocoa flavanols. That's yeah. I'm gonna see if I should see if they'll support the YouTube channel, right? So I'll post that. Apparently they had a bunch of studies, and the studies came out. They were so good that the FDA has actually allowed claims, like health claims, to be made for them. So it's pretty interesting. But man, and I'm healing. My healing factor. Like I got sick, and then I'm about to turn 40. I'm turning 40 this year, and my healing like has slowed way down. I went to the dermatologist because I had this place that just would not heal, and it was getting rough. And she was like, "Yeah, welcome to 40." You know. I was like, ah, and then all of a sudden I started taking that stuff, and bam, like all of my little spots have healed up. It's crazy. So, right there with you, Andrew. Today has filled a bit off for me. Yeah, it has. It's been an off day. It's been weird. It's been good, but it's been weird. I thought all day that tomorrow is Thursday. My week is flying. Yeah, me too. I've got a pile of digital work that I've got to get to, and I have not even begun working on. I'm going to get it all done tomorrow. It's been so pretty, other than the cold, and even then the cold doesn't bother me as much typically. I will say Tuesday, our shipping day for Spawn, Samantha was all by herself because I was wrapped up in a sleeping bag, sweatpants, a thermal underwear shirt, and everything else, and thinking that I was dying, that I was getting sick again. And I was like, oh no. And then the very next day, or that night, I don't know, it was like feverish feeling. And then next thing you know, bam, like less than 12 hours later, I felt amazing. And I halfway wonder if it was just allergies, because Ben said that it's the same day, the same time, all day, he had similar feelings of like being snotty and stuff. So maybe it's allergies, man. Maybe you're getting the allergies too. Who knows? This Tennessee Valley, dude, if you ever, I get air quality alerts on my phone specifically because of my lung issues, but we've got like levels of ozone that's like on par with Mexico City. And ours is natural ozone versus theirs is produced by vehicles mostly, but it's because one of the same reasons we're in this bowl. So, and we're in this bowl and we just collect ozone and pollutants and everything else. So, all right, well, I'm not seeing any more questions on here, so I guess we'll just go ahead and cut it, and I'll get a little bit of daylight, a little smidge of sunset out there in the garden today. So that being the case, thank you guys so much for joining me, making this an awesome day. This has been very pleasant. This has been just a great capstone to today for me. So thank you all. It's been very enjoyable. Thank you. I don't know which one of you guys is putting orders in, but I've noticed there's been like 3 or 4 orders while I've just been on here, which is kind of cool. And don't forget about the Cordyceps Cultivation Intensive, April 4th. Sign up for it because I'm going to start plugging it almost daily because I forgot to plug the last class. And so I had a handful of people in that. But yeah, just we're going to be going to Cordyceps. I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing. I'm even going to see if I can get Sam from Shroom Squatch to stop in for a little bit. Maybe I can convince him to come in a little bit online and talk to us. And I can't remember anything else. Oh, check out the as you guys saw the sponsor myself, the LC Premix, Dr. Solarian's elixir of mycelial mastery. I'm telling you guys, once you try that stuff, it's hard to go back off anything else. And on the website, you're going to get the best results with liquid culture if you use our premix with the Thor stir plate. Hands down, best results you're going to see, even over aeration. All right, guys, thank you so much. Appreciate you all. Had a great stream, great time. Keep spawning culture, y'all.
Step into the lab, lights hum like a starship dock. Pine logs stacked like data banks in a cube block. I calibrate climates while the timeline bends. Writing fungal code loops only mycelium sends. I navigate ecosystems with instinctive precision. Every egg a plate a portal to a parallel vision. Mentorships spin up like reactors at dawn. You want a culture revolution, then you better respond. We fracture the boundaries of the natural order. Make Reishi bloom sideways like a space-time border. I'm an Appalachian alchemist, wild ridge born, with a druid's intuition and a mind full of spores.
Keep spawning culture.
We're the network underfoot, the unseen sculpture.
Keep